up more than we talk about parenting or grandparenting or whatever. Should you let your kids fail? Some experts are saying we actually should.
Yeah, we have a child psychologist, Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, in with us today to talk about this. But first, we asked you at home what you think about this, asking you to vote. And right now, 75% of people are saying, let them fail as often as possible.
Wow.
Let's see.
So that's a big number.
How much should you let your kids fail and deal with those consequences? 75% of you are saying as often as possible. So continue to weigh in on this. Head to 9news.com/vote now or open the 9 News app on your phone. We're going to keep these results going over the next few minutes as we talk to Dr. Ziegler. Thanks so much for being here. Obviously a very heated debate on this one.
Yes, I mean, I love this book, The Gifts of Imperfection. I love letting kids fail and learn from those kind of experiences. And that's truly how you're going to learn in life. You have to fail in order to learn.
Part of this discussion started with the idea of checking grades because it's changed so much. When I was a kid, you got the report card, you know, every 3 months or something. Now, mom and dad can go online and check your grade every single day. And some experts are saying that's not a good idea. Like, you need to have this discussion with your child and say, you know what, I'm not checking it every day. I'm putting some responsibility on you.
Yeah, and I think one of the great ways we can teach our kids responsibility is to kind of come up with a plan around this and just say, this portal is available to both of us. How do you want to handle this? Do you want this freedom? Let's gain toward this. Because most kids are going to say, I really want that freedom and that responsibility. Trust me. And that's something that kids are always telling me. My parents don't trust me and they're constantly micromanaging me. So this would be a great way to start a school year off and say, great, let's start a different way this year.
I'm not a parent, obviously, but as a kid, my parents put me in a lot of sports. And they said, hey, if you win, great. You know, if you don't win, you don't get a medal. You know, these days it seems like kids are always, whether you participate, you get some sort of participation medal. Is that kind of thing good? Or is it better to be able to, if you get first, second, or third, you get a medal, and then if you don't, you don't, and you keep trying? Like, what's the best message for parents with kids in sports?
And that's a great point because this really is the same type of thing. You either get first, second, or third, and that's what you should get rewarded for. And we know that all these participation medals, which that was a big story, I think it was last year, all that does is teach kids that, like, no matter what I do, I just have to show up, and I get my certificate or I get a medal. And it's the same kind of thing with not letting kids fail. If they don't fail, then what happens is we have this whole group of post-millennials at this point in college that don't understand. Like, what do you mean I don't get extra time on my test? Or parents still calling college professors. I mean, this follows kids if you don't let them fail and you don't let them see their real grades or their real outcome in a match.
Well, yeah, once you get into the real world, no one's going to pay you any favors for that.
But you bring up some interesting things because I have heard those stories of parents actually going so far as to reaching out to college professors. We need to be age appropriate. Obviously, if you're talking about a first grader or a second grader, it's probably a daily discussion. Do you have any homework today? What assignments do we have? But as they get older, then it does become, but we still have to be parent. I mean, if they let us down, I guess we have to jump in and say, you let me down. This is the deal we made.
It's developmentally appropriate, right? So if your kindergartner leaves their lunch on the table tomorrow, you have to decide, is that really a lesson you want them to learn? Well, you starved today because I saw it there, but I chose, that doesn't feel developmentally appropriate. But when they're maybe 4th and 5th grade, you might think twice and go, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out a way to get lunch. Like, I'm going to let it sit there. And that's a tough choice. And even though 75% of people are saying, oh, this is what I think, I'll tell you, my experience is not that this generation of parents lets their kids fail very often. It sounds good, but it's hard to practice.
They want them to be the star athlete. They want them to be the perfect student. We put a lot of pressure on them too. A lot.
I mean, it sounds good to say, yeah, they should only get medals when they get first, second, or third, or they should learn if they left their homework and I know that they did it, I'm still not going to bail them out. But it's hard to do that in practice.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's good for kids, so hopefully that'll be the motivator.
Yeah, I think we all remember a failure or two that hurt, like nothing ever before.
And that's what you learn
from. It lights a fire, though, sometimes. It can light a fire in kids if they really want it.
Okay, so it's good to fail, but in the meantime, have a good school year. I don't know if I want to say that.
It's just good to learn from mistakes. How about that?
That's the best way to put it.
There we go. Yeah, people are still weighing in. Now 73% of people are saying fail as often as possible. And then 21% are saying only in certain situations, which I think is what you were touching on as far as being developmentally appropriate and sort of the age group and here and there, deciding what's the best route to take.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got to be measured, and that's the thing. It's got to be developmentally appropriate and just measured, and combine those two things, and you're raising a healthy child, which is what we all want to do. We want to raise responsible, healthy, balanced kids, and this is a great way of doing it. Don't think of it as failure. Just learning from your mistakes is truly a gift you can give your kids.
Yeah, everything's perfect all the time. You don't appreciate perfection, that's for sure.
Right? And you don't learn from it.
Nothing.
There's nothing to learn from.
Absolutely. Well, I feel better.
Talk
Sit
this
down
out,
with a
you
plan
guys.
for the school year. Seriously, it's an interesting topic, and we know lots of parents like to weigh in on others' parenting and everything else, but it's something we all kind of gut check ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, again, if parents are watching this right now from having a kindergartner, just think about little things that you can do, like things that wouldn't have a huge impact but would matter to a kindergartner, let's say. Like, oh, you forgot, whatever. You forgot your doll while you were going over to your friend's house, you were going to play dolls. Maybe next time. You start there all the way up through high school, though. And at that point, if a kid's running around, they can't find their keys, they can't find things in the morning, and you know where that is. Those might be the times to say, we've talked about an organizational system, or we haven't talked about an organizational system. Let me help you with that part. Not here are the keys,
Sure.
but just let's think this through. What can we do to help you be more organized? I think there's always ways to parent, like you said, and keep teaching your kids.
Good stuff.
We so appreciate
you.
you. Thanks for being
Thank you.
here.
Yeah,
and for
it's
the insight.
It's the hardest job you'll ever do, that's for sure.
You guys are rock stars.
Humbling.
Rock stars.
Yes, it is.